T. Brinda, D.K. Patamal, M.S. Subbalakshmi, and M.L. Vasantakumari. I will talk about them in actually their age order, just to get some kind of chronology. Brinda is the oldest, M.S. Amma is the second, third is Patamal, the youngest of the four is Vasantakumari. Now, Brinda comes from this very hoary musical Devadasi community. She has direct lineage connections with Muthuswami Dikshita and with Shama Shastri. And through learning Tyagaraja Kirtanas from Nayana Pillai, a connection to the Tyagaraja Parampara also. So she comes with this, and of course she's the granddaughter of Veena Dhanmal. Her mother is Kamakshi. So she has all this. Now, I never met her. And a lot of this comes from also what people have told me about her and an insight you get from listening to her music. Now, she's very clearly a person of her own mind. One big mistake we make when discussing Brinda is we think Brinda parroted whatever she learned. I'm going to say no. In fact, she designed our notion of what that school music is in her voice. If you listen to Veena Dharmal's recordings, though it is taken at a very late age of her life, and compare it with Brindama's music, you see a distinct difference. That here is a woman who actually created a certain aesthetic sound from her own use of mind and feeling. And not that she just followed, because our tendency is to imagine that that school basically would not change anything, they would keep it exactly like how. It's not necessarily true. It is in fact not true. And therefore she is a person who applied great, of course she was very proud about that. She was very proud about that, and she without doubt believed that that was the best music. She without doubt believed that their music was the best music, everything else was secondary. Okay, that conviction and that belief. And therefore she presented it with absolutely no excuses. No excuses. And she made, of course, she had a caustic tongue. She made comments about every other kind of music that was going around town. And, so she is a person who actually enabled changes in it. So musically, if I was going to sing for you, one very characteristic thing about her is that those little phrases that she would sing. I won't tell you that anything I today is when I'm trying to sing something that these four incredible musicians sang is just my voice. Me singing with all the problems that my music has. Don't even think it is quarter of what Brinda sang or Vasantakumari sang or M.S. Amma sang or Patama for that matter. Now, Yamana Dechevoye Minchina Yamana This is very difficult to sing because every movement is actually very measured. And she will sing it with precision. This is a characteristic kind of phrases. Namatalu Veena o Rama Namatalu Namatalu Veena o Rama Namatalu Veena o Rama Natala Vrale o Yemana Dichevoye China. This amount of filigree work is probably the best word for it. Everything is like that little movement here, little movement there. That is Brinda. That is Brinda for you. It is so difficult. It is impossible to sing with the measure she sang. The toughest thing is the measure. You may get the movement, but it's moving sometimes so fast that your voice does not have time to react to that speed. Another illusion is that she sang slow music. Brinda did not sing slow music. That's completely an oral illusion. You're most welcome to put a metronome, measure the kirtanams of so many times she sang. They are not much faster than most of the people. Sometimes she sang supersonic speed also. We've forgotten all that. We associate Brinda Padam slow. These are interesting associations, no? Why do we say Brinda Padam slow? Everybody could not listen to it. Where is all this coming from? She was not slow. She was not even as slow as M.D. Ramanathan. But we think of her as being slow. But actually she sang all very busy music. Very busy music. Okay, and one other thing is that family, in spite of being very strong about their music, also were open to influences. Now Abdul Karim Khan is supposed to come and sing there. There was an exchange between Dharma and Abdul Karim Khan. So there is also a lot of influences they were allowing to come into their music. For example, the music that Vishwa or Bala sang is so different from the music that Brindama sang. Muktama more or less followed Brindama's music. I would say that without doubt. But if you listen to Vishwa sing or Bala sing, you sometimes can't believe they came from the same school. Vishwa would sing vaguely like this. Pankaja Bhavasura Patinuta Charana Kyakara Sankula. This is Vishwa. Brinda would never sing this. Kyakara Sankula Sankata Harana Shive. This comes from a very strong influence of the Hindustani sound, which Vishwa has it, Bala has it immensely, from the same school. But there is this very characteristic sound. Now, what have we lost with the Devadasis to me? Unfortunately, our only recording reference remains with the Dharma family. I wish we had far more. We have some RPMs of Coimbatore Thai, but we don't have as many recordings like this. Is that there is a sound in their music. And if you ask me to exactly verbalize what it is, I'm incapable of it. I would in fact say there is an arrogance in the sound which is so celebrated. It's like, this is music. Want to listen to it? Listen to it. That kind of belief and that kind of, that's such an incredible thing. I don't mean arrogance in the sense of being condescending of something else. I mean in the sense of just being celebratory of what you have. In that context. So I'll rephrase. But if you find that and this is not gender specific. Vishwa had the same thing. Bala had the same thing. So the Devadasi community thinking, which you find even in Nadaswaram Bani. If you see the Nadaswaram Bani, you hear the same sound. There is an expanse that you can't explain. It is not a question of standing in note for a long time. By the way, if anybody thinks expanse is about standing in a note for a long time, no. Standing in a note for a long time can be extremely constricting and boring. It is actually in the breath. I don't know how to explain this. It's in the breath. As a singer, I know when my lungs have opened. I know when my lungs are not open. And my lungs are open, the world is in front of me. When the lungs are not open, I can't see. And in their music, you can see the world in one line. There is something so important about that sound that they had, which to a large extent our mainstream kacheri gave up. We gave it up. Because we got modeled in this being the product that needs to be sold, and this is a story it needs to tell. We defined both what story it needs to tell, what story it should not tell. So not only were the Devadasis removed, the whole Nadaswaram story also changed. There were people who never played kirtanas. They had to start playing kirtanas. They had no choice. And in the mainstream world of Carnatic music, till today, Nadaswaram rarely finds a proper place. It's a reality up to today, and not a new reality. It's a continuing reality. So these are important things you have to remember about her. Brinda's music, everybody was scared of Brinda. Whether it was MS Amma or Pattama or anybody, Brindaka was this scary person because she never minced her words. She would say what she thought, and she was confident about their tradition of music. And I think a lot of it also came from her own belief in what she had contributed as an individual, though she never claimed it. I think Vishwa and Bala found a different sound for themselves. So within that one family, the family that we talk about, you have a very distinct sound, which is different from the rest of the three I'm going to talk about. Now, Brinda becomes a source for everybody. MS Amma has learned from her. Everybody has gone and learned. Shambhuri Mama has learned from her. Everybody has learned from her. Then you have these two women, Patama and MS. I've spoken about both of them quite a bit, but I am still going to go back to it. Their story together is one of the most fascinating stories for me. If there's a film that needs to be made, it's the story of Patama and MS together. It needs to be made. We're talking about two women who are stuck in two different social constructions. And both have to negotiate that way to find a place in a space dominated by men. Now, it's a very interesting story. Now, Patama comes from a Brahmin house, a very traditional house, where a woman is not allowed to sing on stage because Devadasis do that. Okay? MS Amma comes from a Devadasi household where by the time the anti-Nach movement has happened, all this has happened, where her association with that community and that family becomes a problem for her to even achieve anything as a musician when she knows it's what she wants to do. Just look at the irony of these two people's positions. Right? Both are stuck. Both have different battles they're fighting, but both are negotiating a space. So you have Patama, who comes out and becomes the epitome of classicism. You have MS Amma, who comes out and becomes the epitome of bhakti. Now, this itself should tell you a story. I don't have to say one word more than this. This is simply because of social construction. Okay? I'm not even discussing their music as yet. Now, Patama is a very fascinating woman, gutsy woman. So how does she get legitimacy? Now, that's the whole battle, right? Now, she's coming here dominated by Brahmin men. The last generation Isai Vellalas are still there, but within one generation they disappear as violinists and mridangis. Soon they disappear. How does she find space? She does something quite remarkable. She uses two tools. I'm not again saying that she consciously used the tools. We are now trying to intellectualize the methods that she has used. One is the idea of mathematics and science, which men believe they own. The other is the idea of ritual purity, which men also believe they own. Okay? For the first, she says, I will sing Pallavis. I will do all the math that these men think only they can do. Then she picks up compositions that even men don't know. And whose composition? Muthuswami Dikshita's composition. He is the epitome of Tantric, epitome of Sri Vidya Upasakam. He has everything as ritualistic and sanctified as possible in his compositions. And she is the one who says, I will excavate them and bring it on stage. Now, this gives her a kind of a push that is incredible. She's definitely aided by the society of that time when the Devadasi are being moved out. So for the men, it is also convenient that a woman from their own community is coming in. We can't not ignore that reality is also happening parallelly, right? But yet she is challenging them. She knew kirtanas that no men knew. Dikshitar kirtanas, complicated kirtanas with pristine Samskrita, equal to uttering, shall we say, the shlokas in a homo. And then she brings it on stage and said, listen to this. So she challenges this in a fascinating manner. Okay. Now another interesting thing is her association with the national freedom struggle, which we speak a lot. She was apparently nearly arrested, not arrested, but nearly arrested But she had already recorded for the national movement against the freedom struggle, Tamil songs, and she became Subramania Bharati's voice. Right? She becomes Subramania Bharati's voice. Now, it's not entirely true that MS did not do all that. MS also did all that. But we associate MS with Gandhiji, we associate MS with Nehru, but we don't associate MS's voice with the freedom struggle. It's a very interesting, I'm just placing as a reality. You're most welcome to conclude whatever you want from it. It's true. Whereas MS is known in Delhi, within the Carnatic circle, who sang for freedom struggle? Patama sang. Right? So these are all interesting movements. So you have Patama doing this. Now you have MS coming from the other side of the social spectrum. She comes to Chennai, comes to Sadashivam's home, lives there, acts in films, and she was already she became this superstar. And then there is a steady dissociation from anything that is remotely connected with Shringara. Anything. And in my study, it is Meera the film that really makes that jump overnight. Meera makes her the idea of the most pristine, pure woman. Now, without getting emotional about MS Subbulakshmi for the older people, imagine a woman who is considered from a community that is pushed to a corner as being impure, becoming the epitome of morality and purity. What an interesting transformation. As a very objective thing, what an interesting transformation. And that transformation means she dissociates everything from her past. Everything from her past. In fact, MS Amma had very limited connection with her family in Madurai. This is a fact. Very limited connection with her family in Madurai. She had some, but it had its own boundaries, so to speak. So there is a physical movement away from Madurai, there is an emotional movement away from Madurai, there is an aesthetic movement away from Madurai. Her music changes. Her music becomes something that is far more acceptable to the idea of a religious, pious Brahmin woman. And once the sainthood happens, it takes a jump that is quite phenomenal. Quite phenomenal. Now, so this is all negotiating a very, very kind of crowded, male-dominated Brahmin space. So we have to think of these as incredible negotiations that are happening. Incredible ways of actually subversion. Because the men did not know they were getting subverted. That's the truth. The men did not know they were getting subverted. They thought that they were actually in control of the situation, whereas these women were saying, I know you're in control, but we'll do things to make sure that you just cannot ignore our existence here. It's sad that they had to do it. It should not be, but this is a reality. It's also a time period we're talking about. So you have Patama doing this, you have MS doing this, crossing over. And of course they had a very tough relationship. What else do you expect? These two women coming like this, of course there was a tough relationship. You can't expect that to be very smooth. But I wrote a piece about MS a few years ago in Caravan in which I spoke about this. The sad thing is that within the intramural world of Carnatic music, Patama achieved the status of being the serious musician. MS never achieved that status within the Carnatic world. This is the tragedy of Subbulakshmi. She's a Bharatratna, yes. But anybody in any field will tell you that acceptance and acknowledgement of greatness within that little world that you belong, when your colleagues say, my goodness, you're special, matters much more than any other honors you may get. And Patama got it. MS did not get it. That also says volumes about how caste and gender are so interconnected, and you cannot ignore that interconnectivity. Now, Patama's compositions, there's another thing is, if you say Patama, you say Dikshidhar. Saundara Rajam Ashraya Gaja Brunda Vana Saranga Varadarajam Saundara Ashraya. Now, Soundarajam Ashraya is Patama's stamp. So you have these associations that she makes. And then, so she always sang a lot of Dikshidhar Ketrams. In all her concerts, you will find a lot of Dikshidhar. She became really the storehouse of some incredible Dikshidhar compositions. And of Pallavis. Very famous Pallavis. Nenje ninai anbe tudinariyul Guru Parani Anjadidum nampa vangal panjai parandidumai Nenje ninai anbe tudinariyul Guru Parame. Now this is supposed to be sung by Nana Pillai. So she sang many of these Pallavis. So she got this, in fact she herself is supposed to have said that my music was considered equal to men. Which was a great achievement for her at that time. That they didn't think her of saying in any way lower. Right? So, Patama does it. MS Sama comes from the other side. Now with MS Sama it's very interesting. She sang some very rare Dikshidhar compositions. Nobody remembers it. Sada Shiva Mupai. Till date, the only person who has sung this so much is M.S. Subbulakshmi. Mahesham Muda Chidananda Rupam Sada Muda Sada Shiva Mupaya. But that's also part to the fact that she cultivated an image of being somebody who sang a lot of devotional music. And in that creating of that image, the memory of the seriousness, or what we call seriousness, was also erased. She sang difficult Pallavis. She sang Nalakala Pallavis. She sang tough Rakti Ragas like Kedaragoda. There's an incredible recording, I think it's online, of her Kedaragoda and Krishna Sabha. I don't know which year, please go listen to it. Sarguna Palimpa. Outstanding concert. But you forget it. Whereas in Patama's case, she made sure that you always only remembered this. That also shows the assertion that comes with caste privilege with the two people. Whatever said and done, Patama came with the privilege of where she came from. She fought it, but she had the privilege. MS Sama came from a different, completely marginalized section where association was a problem, rediscovering her own social identity. And that creates a very different notion of the self. And we can't ignore it. Now,